Hey everybody, we're going to talk about a book today, and I don't read. Well, it's not that I can't read, I just choose not to read. It's never something that I picked up, unless it was like a strategy guide or instruction manual, or I was playing an RPG. So how can I talk to you guys about a book if I'm not really much of a reader? Well, to be honest, Bitmap Books contacted me and asked me if I wanted to take a look at it. And to be honest, I was on the fence since, I'm not much of a reader. But then it occurred to me that I may have a lot of viewers that would be interested in this compendium. And I'm so happy that I agreed because I love this book. For somebody who doesn't read, who's a casual gamer, this book is great. Not only does it give you the history of the Atari 2600 and 7800, but the history of video games in general. And how Atari were really pioneers in the home console market and made it what it is today. So this is the Atari 2600 7800 Compendium by Bitmap Books. It is the 7th volume in their Compendium series. Their earlier volumes feature the Commodore 64, the Commodore Amiga, Sinclair ZX Spectrum, the NES and Famicom, Super Nintendo and Super Famicom, and the Sega Master System, along with a bunch of other interesting books that they put out. Hey look, a book about Micro Machines collection. I bet Cool Toy viewers would, This is more than just a book. It's a history lesson and it's entertainment put into one. It has a ton of people involved with it. Between game designers, journalists, programmers, Atari founders, a ton of people that were involved firsthand in the industry back in the late 70s. So what can you find in the Atari 2600 7800 Compendium? Well, you have the foreword written by Gary Kitchen, one of the main game designers of the 26 and 7800. The book has over 528 pages, and it features over 200 classic games. It's got a ton of developer profiles, interviews with people involved at the time, hardware specifications and peripherals. It includes a cover art section, game prototypes, and even homebrew games. As for the physical book specifications, it's 170mm by 230mm with a 3mm protective board slipcase with lenticular fascia, lithographic print, hardback, sewn binding, spot varnish cover, and a spot varnished dust jacket. I don't know what any of that means. Well, I can kind of figure hardback and sewn binding. But holding this book in my hands, you can tell that it is very polished. It is very well put together. Very sturdy. This is not a cheaply made book. You're definitely getting your money's worth. Like I said, over 520 pages. Look at that monster. It also comes with 2 ribbon bookmarks. I like that there's 2 of them because I can keep place of like my favorite game, Berserk. And then maybe another page in the book that I might be including in this video. I really like the cover too, that includes all the little screens from Atari 2600 and 7800 games. But this protective slipcase is my favorite. They're animated. So what else can I really say about a book? Well, just from reading it after a few days, I found out a lot about the 7800, which I knew nothing about previously. Like how it was actually in competition with the NES. And if it had been released only a couple years earlier, it definitely would have been a competitor. Or how the 7800 specs were actually better than the NES. Like offering up to 100 sprites on screen in comparison to the NES, which maxes out at 64. It had high and low resolution modes, and a palette of 256 colors as opposed to the Nintendo's 54. And I thought it was really cool that they named the 7800's processor Maria because the 2600 was named Tia. So they named it Maria because a popular liquor at the time was called Tia Maria. It seemed like things were really fun back then, at least on like the development side. Like the chip being numbered GCC 1701, which has something to do with Star Trek. I don't know anything about Star Trek, but I know that fact. The history portion of the book is about 15 pages long, and that information I gave you was all found on one page. So anybody that is interested in the history of the Atari 2600 or 7800 or just in video games in general, I highly recommend this book. It's so much fun to read, and the interviews, like the interview with Carol Shaw, one of the earliest female video game programmers in the industry. I had no idea who she was until I found out from this book. And something I enjoyed about the book is that they break up these sections. They don't have all the interviews in one section, all the games in one section. They show you a few games and they throw an interview at you. They throw you some hardware specs and then more games. It was so much fun to read about the different games I was familiar with, and especially the ones that I may not have heard of on the 2600 or 7800 as well. They're kind of like mini reviews, not just from some journalist or reviewer. The information in this book comes from the people involved with those games and the system. There's just so much incredible content in this book, and it looks amazing. Like I mentioned before, this comes from Bitmap Books, and they are based out of the UK. It was founded in 2014 by Sam Dyer, who is a huge fan of these games. And you know when the CEO of a company is a huge fan of something, that they really put their heart into every version. And the copy I have here is the hardback version, which runs at £32.99 or a little over 41 US dollars. And there's two other versions of the compendium you can get, a soft cover and a collector's edition. The soft cover is about £27.49 or about 35 US dollars. And of course the collector's edition is the most at £54.99 or about 70 US dollars. So for those hardcore Atari fans, you can get a little bit more. Along with a physical copy of each book, you also get a digital version in PDF format, which is really nice in case you want to view it on your PC, or if you read on your tablet, or if you want to take a look at it on your cell phone, for those of you with better eyes than me. And having a digital version really helps out when you're making videos like this. As for me, when I'm finished with this one, or maybe not when I'm finished with it, I want to go back to their website and take a look at their NES and Super Nintendo versions, because I'm so impressed with this one that I want to get the other ones as well. I may even go hardcore and get the other 6 volumes of their compendiums, because I bet they all look really nice sitting together. Really happy with this book. I can't wait to finish the rest of it and learn more about the history of the 2600 and 7800 and the beginning of the video game industry. It actually got me interested in picking up some 7800 gaming. That's all I have for you guys. I'll have a link to Bitmap Books as well as a link to the Atari 2600 7800 compendium specifically in my description. So let me know in the comments below what you think about the 2600 7800 compendium by Bitmap Books. And that's it for me. Take a look at their website, grab this book, grab one of their other books, because they're all amazing. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. This is the part of the video where I thank those users who support the channel through YouTube memberships and Patreon. Jordy Alex, Rick67, Travis Morton, John Westby, Mike Muniz, Sam Torres, Yaroslav Orudzov, Dor, Andre G, Din Cardoso, Jason Hallbrooks, Magnesium Winterjuice, Craig Livesley, Geode, James Burkhart, Eric Sandberg, and Batman.